Is that right?
Thank you. I just feel like these are all going to fall.
Hopefully they won't all start falling.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's just hope that stays.
All right. Okay, everyone ready? It's 12 noon. Good afternoon. Glad to see you here once again. Week 3 of our news conferences. Mercer coming off of a road win on Saturday. We went to Daytona Beach, defeated Bethune-Cookman 31-2. The offense scored 3 touchdowns late in the second quarter within 4 minutes and 4 seconds. The defense limited the Wildcats to only 156 yards of offense, and 50 of that was on a deflected pass play right before the game ended, by the way. And they also were limited to 29 yards of rushing. Coach will address that, certainly entertain questions, and then it's time to look forward now to the first conference game of the season coming up Saturday at Chattanooga. Chattanooga was the preseason pick to win the SoCon. It's going to be a battle of ranked teams. The new rankings are out. The AFCA has Chattanooga at 16, Mercer at 24. Stats just released. Chattanooga's 14, Mercer at 23. Coach?
Thanks, Rick. Good afternoon. How are you all? Good? Appreciate everybody being here again today. Certainly coming off another solid victory for the Bears. First time we went on the road with this group of individuals. Really proud of the way our team prepared and how they handled themselves on the travel. Bit of a longer trip against a pretty solid Bethune-Cookman team. As far as the game goes, really pleased with the way our defense has played the first 2 weeks, but you really see that they make it hard on folks, right? Create teams, force them to be one-dimensional by being stout against the run. I thought we did a tremendous job that way. I thought we got after the passer pretty well. Although there wasn't a ton of sacks, we certainly influenced a bunch of throws, and they created a couple huge takeaways. One early in the game as they were driving in. I believe it was even the first series where we were able to create a fumble and really sway momentum. So really pleased with the way the defense played. I'm excited about what that group's done and their growth from week to week. Offensively, kind of the same thing. A little bit of a slower start there, but I still thought we did some really good things. There's about a quarter and a half there from the second quarter in about halfway through the third quarter where we really played great football, and I think that's more indicative of who we are. Plagued a little bit by penalties there later in the game, and that's on me. I'll get that stuff cleaned up. So it made it feel a little bit more disjointed, but all in all, anytime you can go on the road and win by 4 touchdowns and feel like you still got a bunch to clean up, I think you got a chance to be a pretty good football team. So really pleased with the way our kids played. I'm excited about their preparation this week for a big game against Chattanooga, and I'll open it up for questions at that point.
Coach, you spread the ball out in week 2. Going against Chattanooga, they were in the conference this year. What does that mean just for an offense to have that, keep another team on the toes?
Again, I give Anthony Soto a lot of credit for just play design, but the kids for executing, and then the unselfishness, right? Like, it's hard to try to bracket coverage certain guys if other people can make plays. Again, you saw 3 running backs play extensively in this game and all do pretty well. We ran the ball for 221 yards last week. I thought that was a key to victory. We've placed a huge emphasis on the line of scrimmage, so to see that incrementally get better against a better defensive front, I was pleased about. But I think it just makes it hard for people to hone in on one player when there's a bunch that are able to make plays.
The transfer for Parsons seems to be going pretty well. How important is that to come into this offense and just almost seamlessly?
I think there's a couple of things, right? Like, I think relationships are really important in this, and when Keelan made the decision to leave Lenore Ryan, and we were one of many suitors because he's had an incredible career so far. And I think consistency is one of the biggest things that I would describe what he's done as a player. I think he's reliable and consistent. He showed some playmaking ability over the years, and then he knows our offense. But not only does he know our offense, he knows us. He knows what we expect. I think that's good to have some of those guys in today's day and age in the locker room. I think if they're maybe unsure how I'm coming off, they can say, hey, like, I've seen this happen, or he's been this way. You got to just trust and believe it, and they almost become your voice for you down there as well as the captains. And so I think he's been critical in that point. I think he's done a great job just being humble and ingratiating himself to his teammates and being a part of that locker room, and we're going to continue to see him make plays for the Bears.
There's also the same role as Dwayne McGee. He looked to get a little bit more settled in.
Yeah, Dwayne did a good job, right? He's from Kissimmee, Florida, so he's only about an hour and a half away from home. I think half of Kissimmee was at the game to watch him, and we really, he's a tough. The thing with Dwayne for not being the biggest guy is that he very rarely goes down on first contact, and nor does he take a bunch of huge hits. And you saw him get free a few more times this past week, and just some of the patience and the skill development on his part. Coach Jones has done a great job even improving on what he had been, and I think you'll continue to see him grow as he gets a little more comfortable with the offense as well moving forward.
You've seen a lot of guys move up from D2, and even DJ Smith coming from junior college. How would you say their transition from lower level of college football has translated here at the FCS level for you?
I think you're seeing there's some of our best players, and the thing with college football is a lot like with everything. Everybody wants instant gratification, and the lost art is development of players. And so what you have in Division II is you have a little bit more time, right? The urgency to win now always matters regardless of the level, but you have time to pour into players and to develop them. And so a guy that comes in at 185 pounds can be 210, 215 at the end of 4 years. And so the development of those young men, I think the biggest area you see it is probably the speed at the line of scrimmage. The guys are about the size that they are at Division II in some aspects. They just move faster, and I think that's probably the biggest growth. But as far as their skills and the guys that we have, I think they're proven that they're solid players at every level.
The defense was really solid the whole game, particularly the front four, really the whole front seven. Rushing attack was really there. Like you said early, their quarterback kind of had some scrambling plays where he got out of it, but how important is it for you guys as a unit to bring that consistent pressure on?
Yeah, we talked about it, and it's, coaching's you have to be critical when you're coaching, and so we talked, and you got to nitpick stuff sometimes when you really, from a defensive standpoint, hold them to a shutout, and really other than kind of a fluke play at the end of the game, you hold them to about 100 yards. I thought the very first drive, the thing that was encouraging for me is we missed a few tackles on that drive, but what you saw was 11 hats rallying to the football, and so I was impressed with the way the kids played. We created the turnover to swing momentum as they were driving in to score in the first drive, and really I don't know that they recovered from that standpoint. They were 0 for 12 on third down, right? So to win the critical downs, and again, for you guys, our goal's 8 3-and-outs each week. I think we had 7, and that's a huge victory indicator for us. So again, just the ability to control the line of scrimmage, force people to be one-dimensional has been huge in our first 2 games and victories for us.
Yeah, and to that point, the secondary, watching the game, they're even, right? They got
Sure.
But they dropped the ball. But I thought it was really impressive how they just blanketed the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Adjustments, how they did that.
Yeah, defensive back play, it's kind of like a quarterback. You got to have that next play mentality. You're the last line of defense. And so if you screw up or if you have bad eyes, it can cost us a touchdown. And sometimes we're better lucky than good. And, they got scholarship guys too, and they made a couple nice plays. But I thought our kids did a really nice job locking in, being much more disciplined with their eyes, and again, just tackling and keeping things in front of them the rest of the game.
Coach, now that you've had a chance to look at them, and I asked you this question after the game the other day, what did you see early on, and what did you see the difference was when you guys finally broke out of that funk?
Yeah, and again, some of it's just we're like one player away in a couple of those, right? Like we're doing a lot well, and then maybe we'd stall out, whether it was a critical penalty or whether it was just maybe a little bit of lack of execution. We got to put them in better spots, but it's just like anything, man. Momentum's a tremendous factor, and once we got a little bit of it, we kept it going, and our defense turned the ball over, and again, that made for an opportunity for us to score quickly going into halftime there, and to really go up 21-0 at that point was big.
And on paper, Saturday will be 2-0 versus 0-2. Why isn't that a good judgment?
Yeah, I listen to. You can't judge this Chattanooga team on their record right now. I'll be completely honest with you. They're a really talented football team. Tennessee's proven right now. They beat NC State last week by 51 or scored 51 points, like whatever their payroll is. So I think that Chattanooga is a fantastic football team. They really were in the game and had an opportunity to beat Georgia State last weekend. So I don't really care about their record right now. We got a tall task this weekend. We'll be ready to play though.
What do you see that they're doing well that you've circled to work on in practice this week maybe?
Just everything. I think they're a physical outfit. I think their defensive line's probably as good as I've seen at this level, especially the two interior kids. And I don't think either of those guys are transfers. They're guys that they've developed in-house and have been really good players for them over 3 and 4 years. And so I think the middle of their defense is really strong. I think their DBs tackle well. And then, conversely, on the other side of the ball, I think the quarterback's a good player. They showed the ability to make big plays in the Georgia State game. And so, it's just like anything. We got to tackle well. We got to run to the football and do our best in the run game to try to force them into definitive throwing situations.
You talked a little bit about the road trip going down in Cookman. Obviously this is slightly different because it's more states. It's conference and it's an opponent that's predicted to win the conference. So, what adjustments do you make? You think how might it be different? How might it be the same?
No, I think it's really important to recognize that it's a big game, but regardless of who the opponent is, it's how Mercer plays, and more importantly, how we prepare to play. I think, we'll ratchet up the intensity at practice this week, just in terms of from a physicality standpoint. We'll be highly demanding of our guys, but as far as the function of the travel, it won't change much at all. Our administration does a great job. We travel first class. It's, a reward, frankly, for our guys to get a chance to go on the road and play in big games. That's what we want.
Anything else, Coach? No, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Okay, let's go talk with our players. First up will be Keelan Parsons. He's a senior wide receiver, native of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, transferred from Lenore-Ryan. 3 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown this past week for the season. 5 catches, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. Keelan, if you would give an opening statement about maybe the transfer coming in from Lenore-Ryan, how you played thus far, and what you think about Chattanooga.
How are y'all? Good. I just want to say that, I felt like that we went down there and we played a good game for, going to a HBCU in a big environment. There's obviously stuff that we can work on and get better at. That's what practice is for. We're going to fix it. Get ready for this upcoming game this week, playing the SoCon opener. And as far as transferring, I enjoyed it. It's different environment, bigger games. I feel like the talent's just as good as it was, but I feel like, the fronts are faster and stronger. It's something that you adjust to. So that's as far as transferring and all. Is there any questions?
What's the biggest differences you're seeing from what you experienced already in Hickory to what you're experiencing now?
The biggest difference for me would probably be the size difference. People are obviously a little faster. They work a little harder. But I would say the talent was always there as far as college football in general. It doesn't really matter what level you play at. There's always those athletes. They could have just not had the grades or the size. So it's always been there. I'd probably just say it's size and height.
And outside of the coaching staff, what do you enjoy the most about Mercer so far?
Just students and players, honestly. They welcomed me in and I enjoyed it. They're all like my brothers now. They took me in under their wing. And atmosphere here, the students, they're all out. So I enjoy that.
What's that like to come into a locker room where you're already familiar with the coaching staff? Like Coach kind of talked about, if you're like the extra voice of reason in that locker room, and kind of just somebody that you can trust.
It kind of feels natural to me now. I've been doing it for so long and been a voice and a leader, and where I was at and where I'm at now. Everyone kind of just, when they don't know what's up, they kind of just come to me, which I'm fine with because I've been doing it for so long. It's kind of like I am a coach. All right.
Probably helps that you did pretty well in both games. How does it feel for you to, obviously you came in and were comfortable, but how does it
Yeah, like I said, I've been doing it for a pretty good while now, so it kind of comes naturally. Like I said, it's a little bit different adjusting to playing at the D1 level than the D2 level. But, you know, you get the first play in, get the first game jitters out and whatnot, and then, you know, it's all about fun after that.
What have you guys been doing off the field to help this chemistry on the field? Wide receiver room, with DJ, whatever.
So like after practices, we'll get extra routes in. You know, we'll run together and whatnot. We'll just get together and go over the signals and plays, make sure that we're all good. You know, the quarterback receiver chemistry is just as good as any other chemistry on the field.
We've already talked about the transition to D1 level, right? I do feel like this game on Saturday is like, it's kind of a big test for the whole team, all the players individually, right? So, what do you know, what's your mindset going into that? And how eager are you to get that out of the way, but also what are you looking to in that game?
So as far as being eager, I'm very eager. You know, it's you know, every school you've been at or played at has always got that rival. Like I would say there was the Limestone and Newberries when I was at Lenore Ryan. So, you know, it always fires you up and gets you ready to play. And then, you know, I'm just looking forward to getting out there with my guys, making some plays, coming out with the win.
Given how refreshing is it once you got here, again, you a couple of other players from Lenore Ryan, but now we played a couple games. First game, DJ throws 12 different receivers, multiple receivers this past week. How refreshing is it to know you've got multiple weapons for the quarterback? You're just one of the many weapons on any given day.
I feel like that it relieves the quarterback instead of having to force and throw to one player or two players, a couple of players, that they can find ways to get other players open, and people can't really target a certain receiver or running back and pack the box because there's so many weapons on the field.
Okay, anything else for you? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go to the other side of the ball and bring up T.J. Moore, voted one of our captains. He had 3 tackles and an interception. This past Saturday, he's a senior cornerback from Riverdale, Georgia. Come on up, T.J., and give us a little opening statement, if you would.
Yeah, I'm T.J. Moore, and an opening statement about the defense this week. I feel like the defense played really well. We had a lot of mistakes, but it's good to get the hiccups out early, get our guys some confidence with a good road win, and just keep learning it and getting ready for conference play, and just focus on going 1-0 each week.
TJ, what's the biggest difference? You guys got a lot of guys come back on defense. You guys lost some guys, but what's the biggest difference between this year's defense and last year's defense, and why is it better?
The difference between this year's defense and last year's defense is really, we have a lot more younger guys playing this year, and I would say the guys are playing more freely, more confidently. They made a lot of big plays early from the younger guys, and it's natural to them now. So that's the difference.
You mentioned confidence. Is something like that going to help you when you're going into what is really a tougher opponent than probably when you face these first 2 games? Is that going to help you heading into the Jack game?
Yeah, that can help, but we just focusing on doing our job, trusting our coaching. So.
TJ, how big do your eyes get when you see that ball coming at you and you know you have a chance for a pickoff?
It was really big. We looked at the play a lot during scout this week, so I knew a play was coming. I just didn't know he was going to make the throw. And Ken put a lot of pressure on the receiver, and it came right off his hand straight to me.
Being a captain or a leader on the defense, going up to Chattanooga, what are you kind of telling the defense? What are you telling your guys in position to just kind of get ready for the game?
They are who they are, but we're not going to treat it any differently than any opponent. We look at every opponent the same, and we just focus on going 1-0 each week. We don't look at them any bigger than any other opponent.
What's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself and defense so far in those first 2 games?
We still true to our identity from last year. Kind of rolled over to this year. We focus on dominating the run game, making the opponent one-dimensional.
TJ, what does it mean to you to be elected captain by your teammates?
It means a lot to me. Like, all the guys in the locker room look up to me as one of those guys that they could count on to lead the team. It's a big part of being a Mercer Bear.
So the first road game out of the way, now it's the first road game of the year, actually, both of them. So what do you say to your locker room to get them fired up in this road
Well, we really don't have to say a lot because that's one of our goals is to win the SoCon. And this being the first SoCon game, that's the first step to achieving that goal.
Clearly, do you remember the last two meetings with Chattanooga?
Oh, very clear. I remember very clear. We came out short both games, but we know it's capable. One less mistake and the game is different.
We mentioned, you said that you have younger guys on defense this year, and you're right that to some extent you got to treat them like any other opponent, right? But you've been here, you're like Thompson, you know them. So what do you tell the younger guys? Like, hey, this team is serious. What do you talk about Chat differently?
I just tell them just be who they are. I mean, just like we have young guys playing, they have guys that left, so they have young guys too. So just step up to the plate.
DJ, the first two games were very important. Took them one at a time, took care of business. After Saturday's win, and now you get up Sunday morning, opposite the game week. It's a conference game on the road. Thus far, this early in the week, do you sense among your teammates a little extra excitement, anticipation, and opportunity coming forward this week?
Yeah. Well, knowing that we just came off the road with a win and we have to go on the road again to achieve our goal, I mean, we have a lot of confidence going into this game. Got the mistakes out early, fixed those mistakes, and I mean, it's Chat week. There's nothing more to say.
Okay, anything else for TJ? Okay, thanks to everyone for coming. Of course, a reminder, kickoff's at 6 o'clock at Chattanooga on Saturday night. We'll be back here again next week to recap that and look forward to the first conference game at home. But first business to take care of at Chattanooga. Thanks for everybody being here. Of course, we've got lunch for everyone before you go. Thank you so much.